Welcome to our weekly event. And we have a really awesome content prepared for you. And welcome, everybody. So, this event is brought to you by Real Estate IQ. We are a host with specializing in deal finding solutions. We have one of our best seller is the off-market motivated sellers, where we can data mine the freshest motivated seller leads, such as pre-foreclosures and inherited homes, and so on and so forth. And our clients have been making tons of deals, right, with these freshly mined properties. We also have other programs such as hot leads, the deals program where we actually bring you the actual deal, and a funding program too where we can offer up to 100% financing for your deals. Quick disclaimer, all information presented here are for educational purposes only, and we don't offer investment, financial, or legal advice. And if you have a deal, we're actually getting requests from time to time from our audience that, hey, we got a deal, we need help closing a deal. You can just submit your deal. You can either send me an email or text me, and I'll find you the right resources and the right help to help you close a deal. Today we have a full lineup of speakers, and we have yours truly. We also have Tamla, who is an experienced real estate investor and entrepreneur. Randy is our funding partner and a mortgage expert. And also we have John Huang, our executive partner at Real Estate IQ, is also a very experienced entrepreneur. So lots of content and material in these big brains here, and look forward to having them up on stage and sharing very soon. Okay, so today's agenda, we're pretty much done with our welcome and introduction, and then we're gonna talk about our market update and a featured educational topic. Then, we want to encourage you to save up your questions. Actually, type your questions while during the session, and we'll give you a spotlight to highlight your questions. So any questions you have, we'll either address it live or during the Q&A segment. And of course, if you have deals as well, we can give you a spotlight to share your deals, or we can evaluate some deals live. And then we'll close and talk about our upcoming events. So any questions that you have, or you may just want to hop on the chat and say hi, this is the time. Let us know where you come from and where you're joining from, and or what any dying questions that you might have right now. Okay, so let's talk about our first segment, our market update. So this is breaking news. This is just new economic data released a couple hours ago. The initial jobless claim fell by 14,000 to 218,000 in the week ending September 20th. So basically end of last week. And that's the lowest level since mid-July. Economists had previously estimated new claims would rise by 4,000, and the actual it has fallen. The GDP posted also a gain of 3.8% in the second quarter, up half a percentage point from the prior estimate due to an uptake in consumer spending. So these are kind of good news for real estate investors. Strong economy, it seems to indicate. Housing has also shown signs of life, with sales of newly built homes going up 20.5% in August, and that's the biggest gain since the January of 2022. The other big news is that it's about housing starts. Housing starts have dropped sharply. Okay, privately owned housing starts in August was at an annual rate of 1.3 million. That's 8.5% below the revised July estimate. and 6.6% below the August 2024, right? So we're 6% below since last year. And as we know, nationally, we have a housing shortage, and the drop in housing starts will undoubtedly keep the demand up for housing and, keep the housing pricing up too. At least it's a upward. It's a force, right, that pushes it up. Okay, so next we're gonna have a couple of case study. Actually, we have one case study here for you. We talked about the deal that we have in Thornton. This was a very quick fix, and let's welcome Tamla and Randy on stage. Tamla and Randy, I know you guys are ready. All right, I'm gonna add you guys up here. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. We just saw each other yesterday.
Morning. Yes.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning. And then welcome back, Randy.
Glad to be here.
So we looked at the slide last week, talking about the property, acquiring it at under 1%, right, for the 1% index. And this was a quick flip, right? Or excuse me, a quick fix, about 2 to 3 months, and we were able to turn it around, and we already got a tenant in.
Yes.
So we wanted to kind of show this. So the purchase price was 122, and the rehab, at least we budgeted 15,000. And I couldn't do math here. You can see the math was wrong, so I'll fix that the next time we do the slides. I cannot add. My understanding, Tamla, was that the rehab went higher than we estimated, slightly higher. Is that correct?
Just a little over. But I think we did very good with the rehab budget that we had. It was basically paint and cleaning, a really, really good cleaning. The property needed a lot of cleaning, and they had a laminate floor in the house that was peeling and coming up. So we were going to replace the flooring, and what we did was we actually pulled the flooring up. And when we did, we found beautiful wood floors underneath it. So we cleaned up the wood floors, and in the areas that did not have really pretty wood floors in it, we put in another waterproof laminate type material. So, and then we cleaned up the outside. It was all grown up. It needed pressure washing, didn't need paint because it had the vinyl siding on it, but it just needed some TLC. What it needed and basically a really, really good scrubbing. There were a few cabinet fronts that were missing, and we replaced those. But overall, it was a very easy and quick rehab. Had some trees taken out because they were growing into the garage, or they were dead and were going to end up falling over on the property. So
yeah, that's what I remember. That's probably what kind of caused it to went above just a little bit, and I know we put a little bit of buffer in our budget too.
We ended up taking out one major tree that was growing into the side of the garage. But there were several other trees we ended up having to take out because they were dying. And my tree guy's the one that knows this more than I do. They looked healthy to me, but they already had some kind of a fungus or something in them, and they were dying. They just hadn't turned brown yet.
Yeah.
So
these were big trees too.
Yeah.
Big trees. So we got we kind of mentioned this, 2-year lease, and pretty good rental price based on how much we pay on the property. And this is a picture we took yesterday. Actually, we are using it for the DSCR loan application now. Tamara, what you want to share with us, kind of what our plan is, and then also let's have Randy, our funding expert here, give us a overview of DSCR and teach us about DSCR and how it helps investors.
Well, and I think Miss Blue may be joining us here in a second. She's kind of wanting some of our attention. So if she shows up in the camera, that's one of our beautiful baby girl fur babies. So when we purchased this property, we used an equity-based lender on it, which other people call a hard money loan. And we purchased the property. We did have to put down a small down payment, and we used the funding from the hard money lender to purchase and do the renovations on the property. We are through with the renovations, and we are in the process of refinancing this property. Now, the DSCR loan is a property for houses that you are normally rental properties, and they're based on the amount of rent that you get. They'll do a 75% LTV in most cases, but they also look at the amount of rent that you get as to whether or not it will cover the DSCR loan. And Randy can explain that much better than I can. But we are filling out the applications now and going through another lender to get this done. And as you can see, we took pictures of the checks there because they want a copy to see what we have leased it for. They want a copy of the lease. They want to make sure that we're getting in enough money to make the payments every month, because that's what they're basing their loan on.
Yeah, and I just emailed that to the lender.
So if she has any questions, she'll get back with us on that.
Yeah.
And then Randy can explain the DSCR loan better than I can. So I'll turn it over to him.
Hi, Steve.
Hey.
DSCR stands for debt service coverage ratio. What that means, it's a very simple calculation. To use an easy round number, let's say your payment is going to be $1,000 a month. If the DSCR is 1.2, that means that the lender wants you to have at least $1,200 in income to cover the $1,000 in your cost. Now, I've seen some DSCRs be as high as 1.35, which means for every $1,000 that you pay, they want to see you have $1,350 in rental income. 1.35 is very much on the high side. Something more typical is 1.2, $1,200 for every $1,000. But we have some sources that actually go 1.0, meaning that if your debt is $1,000, they will approve you as long as the income is $1,000. Doesn't have to be higher than what your monthly costs are. Very unusual. I have seen some emails come to me that claim they will do 0.85, meaning if your income is $1,000, they are not requiring the income to be higher than the actual cost. If your cost is $1,000, they will approve it if your income is as low as $850. So not every lender is the same on the DSCR, and sometimes it's important not to have the 1.2 or the 1.35. And that's one of the benefits of having multiple sources to go to.
Now, Randy, tell us why DSCR, why investors want to know about and leverage the DSCR loans versus, say, getting like a regular bank to refinance.
Usually their documentation requirements are much lighter. Many of the lenders that we go to for either short-term or long-term loans, they do not require proof of income.
Mhm.
They don't ask for pay stubs. They don't ask for tax returns. They are lending strictly on the strength of the property and the asset value. And that brings up something I'd like to briefly address. Very often, especially on older homes, you get surprises when you get behind a wall. When you're fixing things, you find other things that need to be fixed. So I urge everyone, there are several numbers that are important when we're looking to get a property financed. One, of course, is the cost to buy it. Two is how much does it cost to fix it? But equally important is what is the ARV, the after repair value. Don't shortchange yourself when you're calculating these numbers. Leave room for the hidden surprises. One way to do that is when you do your line item budget, add a contingency factor in there to make sure that you do have enough calculated to do all the repairs that you need.
Yeah.
That's my story for today. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. I've been a mortgage broker since 1985. I specialize now in the investment properties and commercial properties, including just land for development. So please feel free to ask any questions.
And I wanted to ask this, Rand. It seems to me that the approval process for the DSCR loan seems to be faster than a conventional loan as well. Just based on observation, is that true? Kind of typically in your
Yes, it
experience?
is. One of the big issues with traditional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA loans is the income documentation. And most of the lenders doing DSCR do not require proof. They are far more interested in the asset value than they are in your income.
Cool. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Appreciate it. Tamara, you got anything to add before we go to the next segment?
I just want to encourage everyone to get out and try something. Go buy a property. If you're looking to get into rental properties, go find a property, get it rented, and let's get into the DSCR loan. And you'll have monthly income coming in every month.
Yeah, and then you get to, I would say, we always kind of preach this is you can't learn unless you're actually doing it yourself. There's so much details and nuances when it comes to each deal. And then after you do it the first time, you kind of know like 80% or 90% of what it takes to get any deal done. And then the other piece is, you rent it out, and then there's also equity building in this process too.
True.
Catherine has a question. How do DSCR loans work for first-time investors? That's actually a really good question for first-time investors.
some of the sources that we use restrict brand new people doing it. They might have a tougher, higher DSCR factor, but there are a lot of them that will work with what in the industry is called newbies. One of the good things about working with us, Steve, is that it is not just them evaluating the property. All of us do. When somebody brings us a deal for funding, it's not only their evaluation, but you're looking at somebody like Tamala, who is very good at researching properties and not only the history of the property, but also the market, whether or not the numbers are good numbers and make sense. I've done loans now for 40 years. Having an additional set of eyes, especially when you're new, is helpful and might help you avoid that money pit.
And if you are a newbie and you are the first time around doing this, you just need to let us know, because we do have lenders out there that we will go to specifically because you are a newbie and you've never done one before, because they don't have the problem with first-time investor. So we can get it done. Just let us know ahead of time and we'll walk you through it. We'll help you through. We'll help you fill out the application if need be. We'll hold your hand and get it done. And they're really not that difficult.
You just got to go through it, first time you.
Right. It's really a very simple application. And if you don't have all your documentation together, we'll help you get all of your documentation together.
Cool. Awesome. So that's one case. It's not over yet. We'll continue to kind of monitor the status of this case. Hopefully we get the DSCR loan soon and share more status, more progress. All right. So today's special topic. Thank you to Tamla and Randy. And we're going to invite John up on the stage now. Appreciate you both. Next, we have Mr. John Huang. He is a great friend of mine and also an executive partner of Real Estate IQ. I've learned a lot from John, and I think every time he comes up here and share his knowledge, I'm always learning something new. Sometimes a surprise. Our tentative name of this segment is Thinking Like an Entrepreneur. We may have a different name. I had another name in mind, so you may get surprised next week. But mindset of an entrepreneur and also kind of having a solid financial education, I have found that is so crucial for any entrepreneur. You can never know enough. You can never know too much. And so just kind of picking this up on a regular basis, it's going to help you either right away or it's going to help you kind of down the road. So without further ado, Mr. John Huang, great guy and lots to learn from him. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. I was pumped up by you're going to propose a new name. Life is getting to a point where everything has become routine and becoming so mundane. So any new thing is going to be a good thing, right? You got to embrace changes, transformations, and hopefully transitions, right? One thing that I'm gonna kind of sidebar it a little bit. Randy talking about there are in the renovation, the demolitions, you got to build a kind of a contingency funding for negative surprises. But I'll tell you also, my friends, the reason people would love to make a loan to you is that a lot of these, especially the old properties, right? After renovation, the value goes up probably 3 times, 4 times. That's one reason. The second reason, actually, you may be surprised. that behind the sheetrocks, and there is a little safe or a stash of caches that the previous owners that forgot to bring with them. Okay, so be prepared for that kind of surprise as well. I've got a client before, they were renovating the floor, and then under the floor there was a small safe and with a lot of jewelries. So, and from before World War II, right? Those, oh my gosh, I mean, it's more valuable than a house by itself. So again, get surprised by these nice, unexpected situation, the scenarios. It wouldn't hurt. It would not hurt. Okay, so today, remember last week we talked a little bit about, the financial independence and the retire early model. We talked about the two families, right? And we're talking about the generational blessing and the generational curse, right? So where are we landing, right? We fly high in the sky, in the clouds. Where do we land? We landed on the Robert Kiyosaki's model, ESBI, right? Employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And we're specifically talking about, the BNI would not give you a kind of a paycheck every week, but it will, especially in the very beginning, right? A lot of uncertainties and volatilities. However, it has that potential that you can compound your income over the time. Usually what I mean usually is 99%, it surpasses a salary income, right? So how do we transition over? That's a topic we're gonna leave it for a later time. But I want to talk a little bit about the benefits, okay? And remember last time we also talking about to make make income on a minute basis. Well, you do cold calls, right? As a real estate investor, it's a cold calling a rate agent. Or if you want to make money by hours, drive Uber or DoorDashes. And if you want to make money on a daily basis, wait table, right? I mean, that's easy money to make, 10% to 20%. Right now, by default, is 18%, 18% gratitude or tips, right? You make that, and the restaurant is not yours, food is not yours, and you don't cook and you don't do nothing. You just wait a table, but you're guaranteed to make that 18%, right? And you don't need to sell. The menu is already prepared for you, right? So what's my point? My point is, it's all dependent on how much your dream is about, right? If you are just looking for a weekly income, work on a job, go to Amazon distribution center, right? You can make some decent income, right? What about monthly? Well, this is where if you want a consistent monthly income, or with the bonuses, maybe we got to pick up some of people's skills, leadership skills, right? So again, to make a lifetime income, you got to build a system, right? Social Security is a system, it's a broken system. Pension system was a great system, but it's expired, right? So what if you can build a system for your own enterprise, for your own business, for your family that only goes forward instead of taking recessions? For instance, I have solutions. Some of you probably heard about the land trust, right? Well, what's the advantage of a land trust? I'm going to quiz you, but I don't anticipate that people can give me a solid and authentic answer. But what about other trusts, all right? Like an irrevocable trust and revocable trust. What do trusts do, right? If you're flipping a lot of houses and you're making make a living, that's pretty bad. These are just to make a living. To make a life, you got to go from hourlies, weeklies, to a yearly, and then a lifetime income. Okay. But what if you are able to have 20 houses under you for rentals, and you also got other investment going on? How do you protect the investments? And how do you have the capability of giving that to anybody, right? And more importantly, you're going to like this. How do you protect you against the hikings of taxation? Okay. I will reserve. Next week I won't be here, but in 2 weeks I'm going to talk to you about tax. Okay, and I'm specifically talking about different tax situations. So make sure you invite some friends. They're going to have an eye pop moment. It's so interesting that the OBBB, the One Big Beautiful Act, right, got approved, and there are a lot of excitement in there, but there's also a lot of trap holes in there if you don't watch carefully, right? So hopefully in 2 weeks I'm going to talk about that, cover that in 30 minutes, right? So make sure you invite someone who can benefit from that conversation, because I'm pretty sure not even your CPAs understood everything about it. Okay. And talking about CPA, that's what my focus is today. Okay. So we're going to talk about how do we, transition from a hourly income to a lifetime income. What are the things we need to watch out for, right? But as an employee or self-employed, unfortunately, there are a lot of fears, and there's a lot of avoidance. The fear is about a boss, about a traffic, about the price on the menus and the holidays and vacations. Because as an employee or self-employed, you can't take a break. You can't. You have to keep grinding. If you don't, there's no income, there's no food on the table, right? And as I was joking about, the summer is over, and who is going to be worried? Well, the AC guys will be worried, right? For a good of a 2 to 3 months, they're not going to have a whole lot of income, right? So now they're going to send out like, hey, winter is a good time to fine tune or tune up your AC system, to do a pre-winter prep. That's how they can get some deals. Remember, in July and August, how cocky they are, right? I mean, you call up your regular AC guy you're befriended with for a long time. The guy would say, you know what? You are in the back burner. You are number 20 on the list. I got no time for you this week. Sorry, right? I mean, it happens all the time, right? Season pattern. So there are things they avoid. Do you know that? They avoid tax. I wouldn't name the name, but well, let's name the name. There was this, the Federal Reserve. That lady got called out by our president that she cheated on her homestead house, right, to make loans. She cheated. Yeah, that situation is going to persist, and probably lawsuit is already ongoing, right? And the president's trying to fire her, right? But he doesn't have the authority. However, that exposes that person who was on a salary were trying to cheat on a tax, right? And people try to avoid regular regulations, right? They set up companies in Delaware. We love smart people, right? We love to work with people who are innovative and genuinely, excited. But at work, if you hire smart people, they replace you. And in self-employed, if you have a restaurant, you train someone to do the cookings and to do the chefings and everything. He's going to open up a shop across the street and make you bankrupt, right? Also, they avoid, employee and self-employed, they avoid the hardworking people. They're scared of them, right? Young people, right? So again, what is the ultimate avoidance they're trying to? Risk and system. Okay, they don't have a risk management system, and they don't have a system to sustain their business. So they're afraid of everybody. Let's take a look at the other side of the aisle, which is the business owner and the investors. Interesting enough, everything that people are scared of is becoming an opportunity for them. Would you say I'm into that? Because I'm into that, right? It's people are scared of a lot of things. That's why they don't make to the top 20% income level, right? What are the business owners and investors do? They leverage money if they have money. They leverage experience, right? They leverage their network, right? Just like, Tamara, Randy, working with the Steve and working with the other, partners, right? We're able to build a sustainable incomes and sustainable business, okay? And they also leverage your reputation, because Randy just talked about, the newbies may not get approved for the loan, but you can always work with Tamara so that you can have a joint reputation, credibility to warrant a loan. So I always encourage young investor, the new, not young, new investors, new real estate, dealers, join a coach. Last week, right? Join a coach, join a partnership, work together, right? To leverage their reputation. Also, what else do they leverage? Well, they leverage tax laws. Well, in a second, we're going to look at the law. Actually, the tax law is in favor of business owners and investors, okay? And they take advantage of the regulations. Smart people, hardworking. So think about the smart people, right? This is so interesting. I mean, why do we avoid them, right? If we're only scared of them taking away from our, from our place and our jobs, then that is so narrow perspective. Smarter people can compensate your weakness, be a blind, cover your blind spot, right? Smart people can work, in a way that make things happen much quickly, and then saving a lot, right? So last time we were talking about what the system is. This system is to save yourself some time, energy, and money, right? That's what we need. Okay, so enough to do this kind of a little bit of kind of a propaganda talk, but you get the point, folks, right? So I encourage those who just started with the real estate investment, stay on. Don't give up so quickly. Usually it takes 90 days to make something happen. Don't count on 20 days or 30 days. Gambling, I mean, 20 days is not going to happen anything. You need a persistent and you need consistent behaviors. Now, let's take a look at the long-term view of why business owner and investors is good. Okay, so we're going to specifically look at it from a taxation perspective. Okay, I will shock you with some stats, and if you got a question, just type into the chat. Right. So a long-kept secret, which is the wealth formula. Okay, so this is the meat, right? The wealth formula is you have a money, okay, and you have to deal with the tax. And hopefully, your money go over a time, grow, compound. And of course, you have expenses, right? Put food on the table, everything. And you need to save some money for retirement, for other occasions, right? For weddings and, giftings at Christmas, right? And hopefully you get some returns. Make sense? Hopefully you make some returns. And you probably need to maintain some lifestyles, right? Lifestyle is not about indulging in excessive spendings and the crazy jewelries all over your face, and I mean that's a lifestyle. But what I meant lifestyle is a reasonable lifestyle that maintains dignity, maintains happiness, maintains your peace, right? And of course, you need to invest in something, but you got to counterplay the inflation, right? That's the wealth formula, right? Do you know tax? So in 2 weeks, I want to talk about it. There are tax now, tax later, and the tax never. Okay. So why do we use a trust? Trust is not just a estate transfer. Trust can take care of your tax as well. And I will see if I got time to talk about that. I can introduce you to a miracle, okay? Miracle about how to avoid tax, right? Legally, completely legally, okay? And there is no loophole. You're not going to worry about somebody realize it and plug the hole, because it's not a loophole and it's 100% illegal and everybody uses it. What I mean is the top 10%, all of them use it, okay? It's very simple as well. It's just awareness. You don't know about it, okay? And time, right? I mean, we all, People say we only got a 90,000 days. Do you know that? We only got a 90,000 days. And every day you just check one box off, check one box off. And unfortunately, out of the 90,000 days, or some people 70,000 days, a quarter, up to 1/3 is in sleep. So you only got like 60,000 days to live, right? How do you live that? So we're not talking about that, right? And saving, you need to understand the rule of 72, the compound interest, the eighth wonder of the universe, right? And of course, return. Let's talk about return. Return can be fixed return, right? Like bonds, like CDs. That's a fixed return. What about a variable returns? Variable return can be the investment that brings unpredictable interest back or returns back, right? When the market goes well, it goes well. Market going down, and you lose, right? Like people trade foreign currencies, trade gold ticket, right? Stick, and stock market. That's a variable. And what about the index? Index is an investment that only goes up, never goes down, and you are 100% protected for your principal. Okay, well, some people argue with me 2 years ago, 2023, before everyone was aware the real estate industry has some known risk, and we need to actually safeguard our investment, right? They argue with us, and they said, yeah, my house only goes up, never go down. I said, really? You believe that? You are too naive. Because in 2009, I don't know if anybody remember 2009 in the financial crisis, before 2009, we all know Phoenix is a hot place, LA is a hot place, and Utah, right? Overall Utah, Salt Lake City, it is a hot place. And then we also know some other places, right? They went up so much, right? Everybody thought, man, I can just cut on the rentals or whatever and for my retirement. But in 2009, everything was cut in half. Okay, cut in half. So at that point, immature investors are panicking. But mature investors, guess what? This is the time we should get in, right? Or maybe wait a little bit longer. So there's no such thing that only, real estate is not a thing that only go up, never go down. Okay, gold is not only go up and never go down. Bitcoin, never, don't promise that, because they said in the first page of their prospectus, investment is all based on the past performances. There is no guarantee for future returns, right? Y'all read that. Your 401k, right? All has that on the front page. But what I'm talking about, an indexed solution, is that it guarantees you only go up, never go down. Your principal is guaranteed protected, right? Maybe in 2 sessions, I'm going to talk about that. Okay, after the next session. Okay, let's take a look at the employee income. Employee, they got income, they got a paycheck every 2 weeks, hopefully, right? And they have to deduct, the employer deduct the tax for them. 1/3 is gone, right? It's gone. 1/4 or 1/4 or 1/3 is gone. And so over time, after the tax, they try to invest, but really there's not much time to invest because they have to pay for the food, pay for the car, gas, and everything, right? They have a barely, they try to maintain a lifestyle, so they spend money again, right? And of course, there's inflation. They have to counterplay the inflation. So what do they have? So I got some numbers here, right? Let's say someone makes $50,000. $11,000 based on current, okay, thanks to our current administration, our new presidents, right? The tax, Secure Act, I don't know if you all know that. The Secure Act was extended by this OBBB, okay? It's extended permanently into the law, right? So there is no tax hikes because, 2 years ago, they were trying to hike the tax on the business, entrepreneurs, and everything. But anyhow, so $11,000 is deducted. Okay, so this employee he only has, 39,000 left, but he has to spend money every month, for rental, everything. So $15,000 is gone from 39. Okay. And he wants to buy a new car because his old car was broken down. So another $20,000 is gone. Okay. Wow. So 39 divided by 35. He only got a $4,000 left. Well, because he has a job, he has to dress up, he has to do some makeups and whatever. So that $4,000 has to be spent on the lifestyles a little bit, right? Guess what he has left? Zero. $50,000 is not a shy paycheck. It's pretty good, right? Librarians, some of the clerks and nurse assistants, right? Hygienists and policemen, right? Firefighters, they make about $50,000. It's decent money, and the teachers too, right? But they got nothing left. What if they get sick? What if the business started laying off people? What if they have a kid and the kid is going to college, right? All these are going to affect their life, okay? And the money, really is shy in this situation, okay? Guess what they do? They borrow credit card debts, and then that's even worse, okay? All right, let's look at the employee smarter, okay? Smart employee. What does this person do? He still makes $50,000, but first the thing is he put a savings. He changed the sequence. Remember the sequence. He didn't wait until the expenses, everything to save. He actually put the savings ahead. Ooh, that's interesting. And before he pays the tax, okay? So he actually put his $60,000 IRA money into 401k or IRA, pre-tax money, okay? So that money start growing. And do they still pay tax? Yes, you bet. They still pay a tax. However, because of the deduction of the $6,000, now they're at a lower bracket, okay? So they pay much less tax because this is $6,000. They don't pay tax, okay? So now he has to spend the family and money and got to pay for the electricity bills, utilities, everything, and buy a new car. And of course, lifestyle of $4,000, nothing changes. However, what happened? He saved $60,000 into a retirement account. Only make one little change. Now his asset is what? He has an asset of $60,000 IRA, and because the job now offers something called a term insurance or some benefit plan, now he also owns a $50,000 term insurance. What does term insurance do? It's an asset. It's a money. Okay, insurance, life insurance is equivalent to a house. Hopefully, it's a permanent life insurance, right? That's a permanent house. $5,000, $50,000 term insurance, that's like a rental property, right? But that's still an asset. Make sense so far? Okay. Now let's take a look at self-employed. Self-employed, let's say the business income is $50,000 on the right side. And yes, he's smart enough to save up $60,000 from his profit that year into IRA because that's pre-tax money. Oh, by the way, because he's a self-employed, he can buy a new car and expense it. Okay, so he buys a new car. That $20,000 will be deducted from that $50,000 expenses. Oh, because he uses his office, his house as an office, so he would be able to deduct, well, if you got a small apartment and you do business 100% in all different corners. So I'm making a simple example, okay? Let's just assume that the entire house is a retreat center, is a meditation center, right? Even the living room is a place that he does business, right? So that 15,000 utility bills, gas mileage, rolls, whatever, will be deductible from the total income, okay? And what else he can do? Well, his lifestyle, the $4,000 of a travel and a gifting and a dress will be counted towards his business expenses as well. Of course, it has to be legitimate, right? And now, look at this. He's going to purchase a lifetime and permanent life insurance of $1,000. Wait a second to see what this does. So now, what's he going to do next? Well, he got to pay tax now. Okay. Well, from $50,000, he deducted all these. He's actually negative 400. Okay. Does he pay tax? Not really. Okay. Not really. He probably gets a tax refund if he actually prepaid the tax or from the previous years, right? So look at his asset. Now let's take a look at his asset. He's a $60,000 IRA for his retirement, and the $1,000 he spent on the life insurance is becoming permanent, or worth of $1 million face value. So what is his asset or net worth? This person's net worth. This person's net worth is $1,060,000. Exactly same income. Did you see that? What a magic. What a magic. Usually get this point, people were like dropping the jaws. And they always say, John, I don't know if my CPA would approve it. You know what though? Mr. Cheaper, Mrs. Cheaper. Okay, let me ask you, other than filing your tax, does your CPA give you tax advices? Say it. Say it. I know the answer. The answer is no, they don't. Absolutely zero. Why? Because it's a liability, because they have to charge you. How much did they charge you? They charge you $500 per hour for taxation plannings, because that is the sum, that's the fee the estate or tax lawyers charge. But CPA don't charge you, so you know they don't give you tax advices. They only take your numbers. If you give them the numbers as an employee plus, they will just file a report like that. If you specify what is your business expenses and everything, they will file taxes in this way. So CPA is just a machine. CPA is going away. Do you know that? Because of AI. They are the number one job to go away. Okay. Unfortunately, they need to do a better job like what I did, all right, to study the law and actually give advices on investment and tax. Some of you may ask, John, are you qualified? Yes, I'm qualified. I have all the licenses to talk about tax, to talk about investment. Okay. Okay. Yes, I got a federal license and state license. Okay. But anyway, okay, let's take a look at business owners and investors. This is interesting. First of all, business owners and investors, they have a multiple avenue of incomes. Their income is no longer $50,000, probably it's $500,000, and it continue to grow, right? They will save something for, we call it self-made pension. Okay, it's called a defined benefit plan. Right? They can put away $100,000 every year just to save up, right? And they can buy a really good, the Cybertruck, right? $90,000 for a new car instead of a beat up second-hand car, right? And they can also rent and buy a brand new office. It's all expensed on their incomes, right? And they can actually pay salary to their own children, nephews, his wife, and he can pay all the utility bills or whatever out of his business expenses as well, legitimately. And he now can put aside $20,000 life insurance plan, right, every year to put in that. And guess what? That is a generational planning, whereby when he passes away, no matter what assets he has for his children will guarantee to get another $2 million. Because of a death benefit. Okay. So another is actually his lifestyle, his giftings, travels, and first class flights and all that is all expensed. At the end of the year, all these expenses deducted, he's going to go negative, right? He will expense everything, right? Well, if he has the leftovers, there is a place to put, which is in the trust. Okay. Next time we're talking about it. And what about, does he have anything left? Yes, he still have $9,000 left. He still got a IRA account left. He got business he purchased the office. The office is left. His business is worth about $5 million. Where's that from? Because his revenue is $500,000. So it's automatically calculated about 10 times of worth if he sell the business. As Randy was talking about, making loans, your net worth determines not just income, okay? Not just income, is your net worth. That's a little correction, okay? Your net worth is a lot important. And life insurance, permanent life insurance is your asset, okay? Your savings, everything. You don't have to disclose them, but if you do disclose them, you get a much better rate and you get more loans, right? I'll give you an example as a freebie today, as a bonus for whoever who showed up here. You know how rich and wealthy deal with their stocks and mutual funds? Do you know how they do that when they need the money? Okay, listen carefully, everyone. Pay attention. This is ka-ching, ka-ching time, okay? How do they deal with the stock? Steve, let me quiz you. Wealthies and business owners, how do they deal with their stock when they need the money?
You borrow against it. Take out cash. Do you hear what I said?
They cash it out? Is that right?
They borrow against.
Are you saying that they cash out from their stock?
They borrow against it. You hear me?
You got it. That's right. Only stupid people would sell the stock, pay the tax, and get the money to pay for business or whatever. Smart people, wealthy people, they borrow money against the stock, against their asset. Asset is the collateral you borrow against. You don't sell your asset to cash out. Thank you, Steve. See? When we work together, we get smart on money, isn't it? So, okay. This is the bonus, okay? All right. So look at his asset. His now net worth is worth of, $100,000 IRA, $5 million business, and $2 million life insurance. Altogether, this person is worth $7.1 million net worth. Okay. So if we look at this, right, and do a little bit of kind of a self-reflections and the examinations of our own thinkings, can't you see what I showed last time, that you really can build a generational wealth wave, right? Unstoppably. Just that life insurance, permanent life insurance alone is worth a lot. And I can tell you this, it's worth a lot more than your rental properties, okay? Because it never loses value. It only goes up and is completely tax-free, right? So can't you see that this is a possibility that a person can move their retirement to 30-year-old, 40-year-old, or even earlier? Yes, because his asset is the money he can borrow money against, and he can continue to use the money. By the way, when you borrow money, do you pay tax? No, you don't pay tax. Okay? All right. So to summarize it up for today's, average people, they gamble. They talk about trading, but it's more gambling. They pay tax. That's what the employees and the self-employed do, right? And taxes and inflation is a nightmare to them. They have to stay alert. They have to keep fighting with everyone, okay? They can't sleep. They can't afford traveling, and they have to be busy all the time, grinding. Of course, some of them will say, "Oh, I just love grinding, so I can prevent dementia." That's not true. You cannot stop. Let's be honest with each other, okay? But investors and the business owners, guess what? They own a portion of a company. They own a business. They have a profit sharing. They're generous. They're usually get involved in the philanthropies, right? They always leave a legacy to their loved ones, to the church, to the right causes, right? They remain who they are. They work with smart people. They have a dignity. They dress up and they live a good life. Okay? So what I'm not asking you to do is to spend all your money, buy the outfit, and go to some of these shops I lately visited, which is funny. They all look shiny, pretty, but they're really cheap, right? You can only use them once. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to be a genuine self, to live a good life, be a good role model and a witness of God's blessing, right? But how do you do that? Well, you got to have a self-confidence and the safety in your heart, right? In order to do so. Leverage, leverage, leverage. That's what we're talking about. Okay. And as a conclusion, we leverage your experience, we leverage your network. Don't hide them away, don't shield it away. Share your reputation. That's what REIQ, what we're here, standing for. We like to build a platform to work with the smart people, hardworking people, and so that we can build the wealth together, build a generational wealth together. Okay. And again, we're here to share what we know instead of hiding them away, because we want you to benefit from it. Okay. So hopefully you bring the, pay forward. It's more like a pay forward blessing to other people. Make sense? And bring other people over. Okay. We like to work with them. Thank you, Randy and Tamara. You always introduce others. That's beautiful. That's how we grow wealth compounded way, right? Okay. With that said, folks, this is the last slide I have for y'all. So hopefully it's opening up some idea. Okay. And of course, if you got a question, we can talk more. With that said, Steve, stage is back to you.
Thank you, John. That was so good. I took a screenshot of the BI example. That's a really good example of how you can build wealth.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously we gotta keep building and keep building our income as well. Okay. So speaking of incomes, let's talk about some featured deals. We are gonna feature 2 deals in San Antonio today. This is 910 Green in San Antonio, and asking 80,000 or best offer. The 80K is pretty firm, as I understand it, for this one. Okay, it's a project. So if you're interested, there's photos available. There's lockbox access code also available. You just need to fill out one of our deals program forms, or you can message us directly, and we'll send you the information. The other one is also in San Antonio. It's 10 Linden Avenue. This one is a little bit soft, this asking price. There's some negotiation room here. Also a project. And we have a deal in Houston coming. It's probably going to be a subject to. We already got it under contract. Upcoming events. We have, every week we have 5 events. So we have pre-foreclosure gold mine. Let's talk about how we can dig gold by reaching out to the pre-foreclosure list. And tomorrow, actually, we have our Friday open house and the deal makers meetup. Unfortunately, I don't think I can host it because I have an appointment at 10 o'clock, and I really want to make that appointment. It's going to be in Arlington. So we'll probably, our cohort, we're gonna continue to use that working session to co-work. I'll probably join when I'm in the car if I can, and then we just use the time to co-work and do outreach.
Yeah.
So, but don't forget the pre-foreclosure gold mine. It's always a very popular class, and explains to you exactly what the foreclosure process is and how you can the entire process of how you can do outreach and make deals on the foreclosures, pre-foreclosures. Okay. Now, if you're interested about Real Estate IQ services and all the programs we have, scan the QR code, or you can take a screenshot right now for later leverage or later use for scheduling an appointment with us. Talk to our consultants, see how we can help you in your investment journey. And we always like to end this. Take action, and let's take our real estate journey together. Let's start building wealth and owning wealth and building real estate wealth and financial wealth together. With that said, that's all we got for you today. Thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of the Thursday and the weekend. We'll see y'all next week.
See y'all next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.